Imagine waking up one morning, not hoping for abundance, not wishing for wealth, not praying for a better life, but knowing deep within that it is already yours, that the universe has already said yes to the desires planted in your heart. Not someday, not when circumstances change, not when you've worked harder or begged longer, but now, already, fully, completely. You see, the greatest illusion that keeps humanity bound is the lie of separation between desire and possession. People think they must first wait, then work, then perhaps, if they are lucky, receive. But the universe doesn't respond to effort, time, or desperation. It responds to alignment. It responds to identity. It responds to belief, not belief in the future, but belief in the now. Most people ask the universe from the posture of lack. They beg from a place of emptiness, cry from a place of absence, and wonder why their desires never materialize. But the one who receives is the one who assumes, the one who says, "It is already mine." That soul is the magnet, that mind is the mold, that person bends reality around belief. If you desire wealth, you must stop seeing yourself as someone chasing it. You must begin to walk, breathe, and act as one who is already wealthy. If you long for love, stop imagining it as something to come. Begin to dwell in the warmth of it as if it never left your side. The moment you convince your imagination that your desire is present, the universe is compelled to mirror that state. You are not waiting for life to give. Life is waiting for you to believe. Belief is not passive. It is not a hope wrapped in fear. It is not a dream tainted with doubt. True belief is embodiment. It is the full adoption of the end result as if it were here now. You must walk in the feeling of your fulfilled desire and let that feeling dominate your inner conversations. Let it anchor you even when outer reality says otherwise. For what you consistently feel and accept as true becomes. The world is not testing your strength, it is echoing your assumption. So if your life feels like a drought, ask not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What am I assuming as real?" The moment you shift the story within, you change the world without. This is not just theory, this is law. Inner state creates outer condition. The universe is not your judge, it is your servant. It listens not to your words but to your state. And when your state says, "I have it," the universe answers back, "So it is." Everything in this universe is governed by consciousness, and consciousness obeys one law above all else: assumption. You must feel that the thing you desire is already complete, not nearly done, not halfway manifesting, but fully accomplished. In the invisible realm of your inner world, you must live in the end. You must emotionally and mentally occupy the state of the fulfilled wish. Why? Because the universe does not wait for proof to respond. It waits for belief. Your emotions are the evidence of your assumptions. If you truly believe that something is already yours, you no longer worry about its arrival. You don't question the timeline. You don't seek validation. You rest. You rest in the state of fulfillment. That rest is not laziness. It is the most magnetic energy you can embody. The moment you can feel the reality of the wish fulfilled, even in the absence of external confirmation, you set the gears of the universe in motion. And yet this is where most people falter. They believe they must see before they feel. They want signs, synchronicities, numbers, and open doors before they allow themselves to rest in the feeling of "I have it." But that's not how creation works. It is the feeling that creates the condition, not the other way around. Feel it first, and what you feel will harden into fact. To feel it as already done means to mentally rehearse the end result with such intensity and detail that it becomes your new reality internally. When you close your eyes and imagine the moment after the manifestation, your nervous system cannot tell the difference. The joy you feel, the peace, the confidence, it is real, it is valid. And when sustained, it begins to reshape your subconscious identity. You become the person who already has what they once sought, and that shift in identity is everything. You cannot attract wealth while seeing yourself as poor. You cannot attract love while feeling unwanted. You cannot attract healing while identifying as sick. The outer world is only the mirror. It is your imagination that paints the canvas. The longer you hold yourself in the inner movie of the wish fulfilled, the more quickly the outer scene must rearrange itself. This is why faith matters, not in a religious sense, but in a creative sense. Faith is the decision to feel something as real even when you have no outer evidence. It is choosing the inner world over the outer one. It is believing so strongly in your end result that the current moment becomes irrelevant. Feel it now, feel the wealth, the freedom, the recognition, the love, sit in it, dwell in it, smile as if it's done. Let your body respond, let your mind celebrate. You are not waiting for it to happen, you are remembering that it already has. One of the most misunderstood aspects of manifestation is the belief that pleading or asking repeatedly will move the universe to act. But the universe is not a parent waiting to hear the right words from a child. It is a mirror. It reflects not what you say, but what you believe. And belief is never found in desperation. It is found in certainty. Begging implies lack. It implies that what you desire is outside of you, separate, withheld, or delayed. And when you operate from that frequency, you invite more of the same. Every time you plead from a state of absence, you affirm the truth of that absence. You say to the universe, I don't have it, and the universe, obedient as ever, echoes back, yes, you don't. But when you shift your inner posture from begging to being, from desperation to declaration, everything changes. Instead of saying, please let it happen, you say, it has already happened. Instead of crying for change, you carry the calm of completion, and that calm is the seed of all manifestation. The universe operates by law. It does not reward emotion. It reflects vibration. You could cry for 10 years and see nothing change if your vibration says, I am lacking. But if, in a single moment, you rise and declare with confidence, it is mine, you start to alter the structure of reality itself, because belief is a command, not a request. Think of your mind like a transmitter. It's always broadcasting a frequency. That frequency is not made of words, but of feelings, assumptions, and identity. If you assume you're still waiting, the signal you send out is delay. If you assume it's here, the signal you emit is fulfillment. And the universe, acting as an exact replica of your state, begins to align circumstances, people, and events to confirm what you internally know. It's not that you're being ignored when you beg, it's that you're being obeyed. The universe listens carefully, not to your words, but to your energetic stance. If you speak abundance but feel lack, lack is what returns. If you affirm success but secretly fear failure, fear is what manifests. That's why the work is internal. It's not about doing more. It's about believing deeper. This is the power of assumption. When you assume you are already in possession of your desire, the need to ask disappears. You no longer look to others for confirmation. You no longer chase signs or seek permission to feel successful. You become the one who has it, and the universe, in perfect symmetry, delivers the evidence. Stop begging. Stop praying from pain. Speak with the confidence of one who knows they've been heard. Walk with the certainty of one who knows they've been answered. Let your life reflect not your effort, but your embodiment. For the one who believes they already have it, receives. Every single day you are speaking to yourself. Most of the time you're not even aware of it. These silent words, your inner conversations, are shaping your reality in ways more powerful than any external force. The universe listens most intently to these whispers within, not what you say to others, not what you post or proclaim, but what you secretly repeat to yourself when you're alone, uncertain, or afraid. You may tell the world you believe in your success, but if your inner voice constantly says, I'm not good enough, I always fail, or it's not happening for me, then that is the message the universe will respond to. These inner conversations are not just harmless thoughts. They are seeds, they are instructions, they are blueprints being handed over to the divine architect of creation. To manifest the life you desire, you must become fiercely aware of the way you speak to yourself. You must guard your mind like a sacred temple and begin to discipline your inner dialogue. If your goal is wealth, then your self-talk must mirror abundance. I always have more than enough. Money flows to me easily. I am supported by life. If your desire is love, then your thoughts must echo belonging. I am loved deeply. I am worthy of the relationship I envision. This is why many people feel blocked in their manifestations. They do all the outer things, vision boards, affirmations, visualizations, but deep inside they still carry the old dialogue of defeat. And the universe, impartial and exact, continues to mirror that silent script. The solution is not to do more, but to speak better to yourself, reprogram the mind, rewrite the story. Remind yourself as often as necessary that you are no longer who you were. You are who you've decided to become. This alignment is subtle, but it's everything. Every thought you accept as true shapes your self-concept, and your self-concept determines what you allow, expect, and attract. If you want to change your world, change the voice narrating your life. Speak as the millionaire, speak as the loved one, speak as the healed, not just in front of others, but in the secret places of your soul. Because when your inner conversations shift, your emotions shift. And when your emotions shift, your frequency changes. And when your frequency changes, reality must follow. Speak in the direction of your destiny, and the universe will echo your words in the world around you. You've been taught to look outward, to trust only what you see, to believe only what is tangible. But that is the limitation of the five senses. It's the world of facts, not faith. True manifestation begins where sight ends, and the bridge between your current reality and your desired outcome is imagination. Imagination is not just fantasy, it is divine power. It is creation's original blueprint. Everything that exists now was once imagined. The home you live in, the device in your hand, the clothes you wear, they all began in someone's mind. Someone imagined them clearly, held that image with certainty, and then moved through life in harmony with that mental picture. And slowly the scene was born from the unseen. The same principle applies to your desires. The wealth you want, the health you crave, the success you envision, they are not waiting in some distant future. They are waiting in your imagination. And until you learn to live in that imagined end, you will remain chained to the present condition. To imagine your desire fulfilled is to touch the supernatural. It is to bypass logic, skip time, and walk directly into the scene of your victory. When you imagine in vivid detail the outcome you want, you begin to condition the mind and body to experience it now. This triggers the universe to shift its gears, arranging everything necessary to bring that image into your physical world. But imagination must be disciplined. It cannot be occasional or half-hearted. It must become your inner home. You must return to that scene of fulfillment over and over until it feels more real than your current life, until the imagined becomes inevitable. This is not delusion. It is the formula of every creator who ever changed their destiny. The great secret is this: your mind does not know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you imagine success, your brain fires the same neurons as if you were living it. When you imagine healing, your body begins to respond to the belief of recovery. When you imagine wealth, you align your subconscious with prosperity. This is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual law in action. Many people imagine the worst and wonder why life keeps giving them struggle. But you are not meant to be a victim of imagination, you are meant to be its master. Choose your scenes, build your life in the theater of your mind. Speak the lines, feel the joy, taste the victory. Do it so vividly, so consistently, that the external world has no choice but to comply. You don't need to know how, you only need to see. Imagination is your access point to infinite possibility. It is the evidence of things not seen. It is the first creation before the second. If you can live in it long enough, the universe will meet you at the bridge and bring the invisible into view. The delay you experience in manifestation is never because the universe is withholding from you. It is not because you're not deserving, not working hard enough, or not lucky. The delay exists only because of the tension between what you want and what you believe. That tension, the inner conflict between desire and doubt, is what causes manifestation to slow, pause, or detour. The moment your inner belief fully aligns with your desire, delay dissolves. Most people do not understand this. They think delays are signs that they must work harder externally. They change their approach, take more action, consult more people, or force the process. But manifestation has little to do with action and everything to do with consciousness. You can move mountains with no effort at all if you move them first in the mind. But if you doubt that the mountain can move, no amount of physical effort will matter. Inner doubt is subtle. It hides behind phrases like maybe it's not meant for me, what if I fail again, or I don't see any proof yet. These thoughts sound logical, but they are deadly to creation because they lower your frequency and change your identity. They pull you out of the state of the wish fulfilled and anchor you in the state of absence. And as long as you identify with lack, you cannot receive abundance. When you observe your outer reality and see no progress, understand this. You are not looking at truth, you are looking at old reflections. Reality is a mirror with a delay. What you see today is the result of what you felt and believed yesterday. If you let current circumstances influence your emotions and assume delay means denial, you start to recreate the very thing you want to escape. But if you remain faithful to your inner reality, even in the face of outer silence, you activate the power that bends time itself. There is a kind of magic that unfolds when you no longer let the visible world dictate your state. When you say, "It is mine," even while your eyes see nothing, your faith becomes magnetic. It tells the universe that you are ready, not hoping, not trying, but ready. Ready to receive because you have already received within. This is why you must check your emotional compass daily. Are you feeling impatient, anxious, desperate? Those feelings are the alarm bells of doubt, not because they are bad, but because they reveal what you are truly assuming. And assumptions create outcomes. So if doubt exists within, delay will exist without. But if belief lives within, manifestation must follow. Your job is not to control time, it is to control your inner world. Protect your belief like treasure. Starve your doubt by refusing to feed it with attention. Speak only what you desire. Feel only what aligns. And remember, reality is not punishing you. It is just mirroring you. Shift the mirror, and the world will change its reflection. There is a version of you who already has the life you dream of. That version walks differently, talks differently, and lives from a state of peace, confidence, and knowing. You don't become that version after the manifestation. You must become that version before, and that becoming is the secret key. You must begin to live, speak, and act as if the result has already been delivered. Because the moment you do, the universe is forced to mirror your new identity. This is not about pretending. It's not about faking anything. It's about choosing to inhabit the energy of your fulfilled desire so completely that the old version of you no longer exists. Every thought, every word, every action should reflect the reality you wish to experience. If you want to be wealthy, do you speak like someone in lack? Or do your words carry the calm assurance of someone who never worries about money? If you want to be loved, do you walk like someone rejected? Or do you carry the quiet glow of someone deeply valued? Your actions are votes for your identity. Every small decision you make reinforces a belief about who you are, and the universe reads that signal. Not your effort, not your struggle, but your embodiment. It sees who you're being, and it brings to you what matches that frequency. That is why belief without embodiment is powerless. You cannot just say, "I am successful," and then act like a failure. You cannot declare abundance while making every decision out of fear. The two must match. Inner declaration and outer behavior must align. Start small. Carry yourself the way the successful you would. Speak blessings over your life the way the healed you would. Make choices with the confidence of someone who already won. Shift your posture. Change your language. Watch how people begin to treat you differently. Watch how opportunities begin to recognize you. Because reality listens to the message you live, not the one you merely think. This doesn't mean you need to spend extravagantly, fake a lifestyle, or lie to yourself. It means you must shift from hoping to knowing, from waiting to claiming, from effort to energy. Begin to see yourself as the person who has instead of the person who wants. The way you treat yourself, the boundaries you set, the way you respond to life, it must all reflect the version of you who already received the blessing. Faith is action in disguise. It's not just what you believe, it's what you become. The more you act from the state of fulfillment, the more the external world catches up with that inner truth. And suddenly, what was once only imagined becomes undeniable. Because you no longer hoped for it, you lived it. Faith is not a weak whisper in the dark. It is the most powerful force you will ever command. It is not wishing, it is not hoping. Faith is the deep, unwavering knowing that what is unseen is more real than what your eyes can currently perceive. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, not poetic sentiment, but a spiritual law that governs creation itself. Everything in your visible life today once lived in the invisible. Your current reality is only the hardened shell of your former beliefs. So if you want to change the visible, you must first learn to live in the invisible. You must make the unseen so alive in your inner world that the outer world has no choice but to conform. This is where faith comes in. Not faith in others, not faith in timing, but faith in the inner image, the end result, the thing already accomplished. When you walk by faith, you walk with certainty in a world that may look completely opposite. You walk through struggle, but your mind sees abundance. You walk through rejection, but your heart feels love. You walk through silence, but your soul hears applause. This is not delusion, it is creation. The world doesn't change and then you believe. You believe and then the world must change. Many struggle because they think faith requires signs. They look for confirmation before they trust. But faith is the confirmation. It's the quiet inner agreement with your future self. It's the invisible handshake with destiny. When you live in that kind of faith, you become unstoppable. You stop chasing, you stop waiting, you start becoming. Faith is the divine sculptor. It molds the seen out of the unseen. It chips away doubt and limitation, carving from the invisible realm a masterpiece that only you dared to believe into existence. You don't need to know how the universe will deliver, only that it will, and it must. Because the universe is not random, it is responsive. The moment you decide to see through the lens of faith, everything changes. The pain becomes purpose, the waiting becomes preparation, the silence becomes sacred, and you become the vessel through which the unseen becomes seen, through which heaven kisses earth, through which the dream, the vision, the desire finally takes form. Let this be your truth. Faith is the bridge, the builder, and the blueprint. And when you hold it firmly within, the outer world must mirror its shape. Faith never fails. It only waits for your full agreement. You were never meant to live as a beggar before the universe. You were created to speak, to believe, and to receive as a divine creator walking through time. Every moment of your life is responding not to your wishes, but to your assumptions, not to your desperation, but to your embodiment. You now know the truth. The universe pays those who believe they already have it, not because they earn it, but because they become it, because they dared to live in the state of the wish fulfilled, even when the world told them they were foolish, because they trusted the unseen, spoke as if it were done, and walked as if they were already there. There is a world within you that you have ignored for far too long. A treasury so vast, so overflowing with riches, that if you only dared to claim it, your life would transform faster than your logic allows. But you've been conditioned to look outward, to chase money, status, and validation as if they are foreign prizes hidden in some distant land. And so you run, you strive, you exhaust yourself, all the while missing the profound, silent truth. Wealth doesn't come from the outside, it erupts from within. Close your eyes for a moment, not in defeat, but in power. Shut out the noise of bills, obligations, fears, and doubts. Feel even for a second that wild, reckless energy that says it's already mine. That feeling is not a fantasy. It is not mere daydreaming. It is the ancient universal law whispering to you, telling you that the life you crave begins the moment you claim it internally, with boldness, with audacity, with unwavering belief. You see, lack is not a bank statement. Poverty is not a number. It's a state, a stubborn, repetitive, internal story you've been rehearsing. And abundance, it's not about dollars and cents. It's a vibration, a dominant thought pattern, a fearless declaration, repeated so often that the external world must surrender to it. But most people reverse the process. They say, once I have more money, I'll feel abundant. But here's the truth most will never tell you. You'll never have more money until you become abundance itself. You must flood your inner world with the conviction that you are wealthy beyond measure. You must saturate your mind with images of success, overflow, prosperity, until they harden into fact. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything that fills your life right now is merely the evidence of the beliefs you've been loyal to. If your bank account is empty, it's only reflecting the hidden, fearful conversations you've had with yourself for years. If your reality feels limited, it's only echoing the scarcity you've rehearsed in silence. But the good news, you can change that story. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances improve. Now, you must go on a rampage, a relentless, unapologetic flood of inner abundance. You must talk, walk, breathe, and think like wealth itself is chasing you down. Not as a desperate trick to manipulate reality, but as a bold remembrance that reality cannot ignore the mind that refuses to settle for less. The world will resist at first. Your senses will argue, your doubts will scream, but stay the course. Override your conditioning with an internal uprising so intense, your bank account, your opportunities, your lifestyle have no choice but to bend to your new inner law. That is not arrogance, that is alignment. So the question is not, when will your life reflect wealth? The question is, when will you decide that abundance within you is non-negotiable? The moment you do, the outer world crumbles under the pressure of your new belief, and your bank, your life, your reality will mirror the flood of wealth you've already accepted inside. You must feel wealthy before life allows you to be wealthy. Inner abundance always comes first. This is the one truth that the world keeps missing, the one law of creation that governs everything you see, touch, and experience. You've been conditioned to believe that wealth is some distant event, a reward granted by hard work, by connections, by circumstances falling perfectly into place. But that is illusion. That is the great deception of the senses. Reality does not grant you wealth first so that you may then feel abundant. It demands that you feel abundant first so that it may reflect back to you the image you insist upon holding. The mind is the projector, not the passive observer. And wealth, true wealth, is a frequency, a living, breathing state that you step into within yourself long before evidence arrives. You may look at your bank account today and see numbers that disappoint you. You may glance at your surroundings and find them unworthy of your dreams. But all of that is temporary, for it is nothing more than a frozen echo of yesterday's beliefs. If you dare to override the senses, if you dare to feel wealthy despite appearances, you have already begun the process of reshaping your external world. There is a sacred arrogance in walking through life as though your wealth is inevitable, as though your riches are already signed, sealed, and on their way to you. Most people will misunderstand you. They will call you delusional. But understand this. Those same people are imprisoned by their belief that the outside dictates the inside. They are slaves to circumstances. You are not. You've glimpsed the higher law, the law that demands inner abundance precede outer riches. You cannot wait for the world to prove your wealth to you. You must prove your wealth to the world. through your feelings, your assumptions, your inner dialogue, repeated day after day, moment after moment, until reality breaks under the weight of your conviction. You must dare to stand in front of the mirror of life and declare, I am wealthy now, even as the world presents every argument against it. And you will do this not as a trick, not as a desperate plea, but as a knowing, a quiet, powerful insistence that the law of assumption bows to no one. Every mansion, every overflowing bank account, every luxury you see today was once just a seed, a faint whispered feeling within someone bold enough to believe before they could touch it. They felt wealthy long before wealth appeared, and so must you. It is not negotiable. It is the ancient pattern. Inner abundance commands reality, never the other way around. Your current financial situation is not permanent. It's a mirror of your inner dialogue. Change the inner story and the mirror changes. Look around you, the circumstances, the limitations, the so-called reality you wake up to every day. It is not permanent. It is plastic, fluid, subject to the authority of the one thing the world cannot deny, your dominant inner story. Every result you chase, every condition you struggle against, is only the reflection of the narrative you've rehearsed in silence. Your bank account, a mirror. Your opportunities, a mirror. Your environment, nothing but the obedient reflection of your inner speech. But most remain trapped because they mistake the mirror for truth. They see the balance on their bank statement and declare, this is who I am. They see lack and conclude, this is my destiny. But that is the trap, the illusion that the reflection comes first. It never does. The mirror is loyal to the script you repeat within yourself when no one is listening. Change the inner dialogue, the quiet, unseen conversations with yourself, and the mirror cannot resist you. The world outside does not hold authority over you. It bends without fail to the one who masters the inner conversation. You may whisper abundance to yourself 1,000 times, and the mirror may resist for a season. But understand, the mirror has no choice. It must yield, it must reflect what you are certain of within. But here's the secret most overlooked. The mirror reflects not your wishes, not your desperate pleas, but your assumptions. Those quiet, stubborn, unshakable beliefs you carry as fact. What have you been repeating within? Have you been rehearsing scarcity? Have you been entertaining thoughts of limitation, doubts, fears, beliefs that wealth is far delayed or reserved for others? Then your world can only reflect that. But change the dialogue. Rewrite the script. Walk, speak, breathe, and think as though your abundance is already fact. And watch how the mirror rearranges itself. It may delay, it may resist, but it cannot defy the law. The mirror follows the mind. You were never meant to be a victim of appearances. You were designed to be the author of them. But you must accept the responsibility. Your reality today, however limited, however frustrating, was authored by you, by the unconscious, repetitive dialogue you allowed. But now you awaken. Now you rewrite the story. And as you do, life, your bank account, your surroundings, become the obedient mirror of the abundance you've dared to declare within. Lack is not about money. It's about the internal identity you've accepted. Abandon the identity of scarcity. You have been told your entire life that poverty is measured by numbers, by zeros in your bank account, by assets, by the things you own or the opportunities you lack, but none of that is the root. Those are only symptoms, surface echoes of a much deeper truth. The real poverty is not material, it is the identity, the invisible role you've chosen to play without even realizing it. You may believe you are struggling because of external conditions, But the real condition is the version of yourself you've agreed to become. The version that expects lack, rehearses limitation, and wears scarcity like an old familiar coat. Every result in your life is downstream from the identity you carry. If you see yourself as someone who just gets by, you will. If you secretly believe you are unlucky with money, you will be. If you assume wealth is reserved for others, the world will reflect that too. The identity you embody writes the script for your life, and life obeys it without resistance. This is why no amount of hustle, no amount of striving can override the silent identity of scarcity. You may chase wealth for years, but if at your core you still believe you are poor, the mirror of life has no choice but to confirm it. But here's the power most overlooked. Identity is not fixed. It is not stamped upon you by fate. It is chosen, often unconsciously, but always chosen. And the moment you awaken to that, you become dangerous to your own limitations. You can abandon the identity of lack. You can refuse to wear the labels that have chained you to struggle. You can, by persistent assumption, by bold imagination, embody the version of you that is already wealthy, already abundant, already free. The world does not change when your circumstances change. The world changes when you change, internally, irrevocably. You must saturate your mind with the image of your abundant self until it feels more real than the current facts. You must speak, act, move, and think as though your new identity is the only truth, and the old reflection of lack will dissolve under the pressure of your unwavering self-concept. The identity of abundance is not given, it is assumed. And once assumed, the world must conform. Abandon the identity of scarcity and you abandon the struggle that has followed you for years. Accept, without compromise, the version of you that commands wealth, and the world will mirror it back. With precision, with certainty, with inevitability. Flood your inner world with the emotions, images, and certainty of abundance until doubt drowns. The mind is the fertile soil where every result in your life is planted. It is the origin point, the space where reality takes shape long before you can touch it. And yet, most allow their inner world to be barren, polluted by fear, doubt, and hesitation. They crave abundance but offer their mind only images of limitation. They hunger for wealth but dwell upon the emotions of scarcity. But here lies the hidden law. The external world can only reflect what is overflowing within you. And when you flood your inner world with abundance, when you saturate your imagination with success, wealth, and overflowing prosperity, the world outside must eventually yield. Your senses may argue, your bank statement may contradict you, but do not be deceived. The physical is slow, dense, reactive. The inner world, the realm of imagination, emotion, and conviction, is fast, pliable, and infinitely more powerful. What you feel repeatedly, what you see persistently within, becomes the blueprint reality cannot refuse. You must treat your inner world like sacred territory. Guard it fiercely. Flood it daily. Let your mind overflow with visions of wealth so vivid they intoxicate you. Let your heart pulse with the certainty that abundance is not coming, it is here. You must drown doubt in the flood of your own persistent assumption. You must overwhelm fear with the relentless image of your success. This is not a one-time act. It is a daily, hourly, moment-to-moment discipline. You are either flooding your inner world with abundance, or by default you are allowing scarcity to creep back in. Every thought, every image, every inner conversation adds to the flood or weakens it. You must be relentless. You must be unreasonable in your certainty. You must feel the emotions of wealth now, not when life gives you permission, but because you have decided. Your inner world is the workshop of creation. It is where reality is shaped, refined, birthed. And the flood of abundance you unleash within will become the silent, unstoppable force that bends the world outside to your will. Let the emotions of wealth become your default state. Let the images of prosperity dominate your vision, and watch as doubt, fear, and limitation drown, helpless under the weight of your inner abundance. Your senses will argue with your inner abundance, but persistence reshapes reality. This is the battle every creator faces, the war between what they feel within and what they see without. Your senses, trained by years of repetition, by old beliefs, by inherited fears, will resist you. They will scream limitations in your face. You will open your eyes to unpaid bills, to empty accounts, to circumstances that mock your inner assumptions of wealth. But understand this: your senses are not the final authority. They are merely the echoes of the old state, the remnants of yesterday's beliefs, materialized into form. Most people lose this battle because they bow to their senses. They declare, "I will believe I'm abundant when my reality confirms it." But this is backward. The senses follow belief, they do not lead it. What you persist in feeling, what you stubbornly claim within, no matter how loudly the outer world denies it, becomes law. Reality reshapes itself around your inner persistence, like clay in the hands of the sculptor. But make no mistake, the senses will argue. The physical world, heavy with the weight of your old assumptions, will not shift overnight without resistance. Doubt will rise. Fear will whisper. Evidence will contradict your inner vision. But this is not failure. It is the natural unraveling of the old. It is the breaking down of the previous structures your beliefs created. You must not collapse under this pressure. You must persist. Persistence is the quiet rebellion against what the senses claim is true. It is the refusal to abandon your vision, your inner wealth, simply because reality has not yet caught up. You walk through the storm of lack as though the sun of abundance is already blazing above you. You act, think, breathe, and move as if wealth surrounds you, even when the outer reflection dares to disagree. And here lies the power most overlooked. The senses are slow, dense, delayed, but the inner world is immediate, flexible, responsive. The moment you flood your inner state with abundance, the process of reshaping reality begins. It may not be visible yet, the form may lag behind, but beneath the surface, the foundations are cracking, the circumstances are shifting, the opportunities are aligning. The outer world cannot hold against the one who persists. Your senses may argue today, they may contradict you tomorrow, but your unwavering persistence rewrites the blueprint of your life. Reality, though stubborn, is obedient. And the day comes, always comes, when the senses surrender, when the reflection matches the inner abundance you refused to abandon. That is the law. Wealth begins with an inner rampage, a defiant decision to own prosperity mentally, daily, relentlessly. You have been quiet for too long. You have tiptoed around abundance as though it's reserved for the chosen few, as though you need permission to claim it. But wealth is not gentle. It does not arrive through hesitation. It is summoned, commanded, declared through a relentless, unshakable inner rampage that refuses to tolerate scarcity any longer. A rampage is not polite. It is not a passive meditation or a hopeful whisper to the universe. It is an aggressive, fiery takeover of your internal world. It is the decision that from this moment forward, your thoughts, your emotions, your entire mental atmosphere will bow to one truth only. You are wealthy now. You are abundant now. You own prosperity mentally, daily, relentlessly. Until life, exhausted by your certainty, reflects it without resistance. The world will try to quiet you. Circumstances will test your resolve, The reflection may delay, but you must double down. You must flood your mind with the images, the sensations, the bold declarations of wealth until lack has no air to breathe. This is not about manipulation, it is about alignment. You are not pleading with life, you are reminding life who you are. Every time fear rises, respond with the rampage of abundance. Every time doubt whispers, drown it in the flood of your unwavering assumption. You must be unreasonable in your belief. You must be relentless in your declarations. You must become so saturated in inner wealth that the outer world cannot help but rearrange itself to match the fire you've lit within. This is not occasional work. It is daily, hourly, constant. You cannot afford to let the old dialogue of scarcity sneak back in. You must guard your mind as though your entire fortune depends on it, because it does. Your reality bends to your persistence. Your life reshapes itself around your assumptions. And when you go on that inner rampage, unapologetic, defiant, unwavering, wealth, opportunities, success, they follow like shadows in the sun. The external world bends, sooner or later, to the one who refuses to think, feel, and act like lack is real. You may not have understood this law before, but now that your eyes are open, you cannot ignore it. Everything around you, the streets you walk on, the home you live in, the people you meet, even the numbers in your bank account, is fluid, malleable, obedient to one master alone, your persistent inner state. Life does not argue with your assumptions. It reflects them, precisely, inevitably, without fail. But here's where most people miss the mark. They allow temporary circumstances to dictate permanent beliefs. They see lack, so they think lack. They feel scarcity, so they act as though scarcity is real. But what they don't realize is this: what they see is not the truth. It is a delayed echo, a photograph of yesterday's assumptions made visible. And yet they react to it. They bow to it. They accept it as final. And so the cycle repeats. But the one who understands the law, the one who grasps the divine authority of imagination, refuses to fall for this illusion. They walk through lack as though it doesn't exist. They think prosperity, feel prosperity, act as though prosperity surrounds them, even when the world presents its strongest arguments against it. They are not fooled by temporary shadows. They are anchored in the unseen reality within, the only reality that truly governs outcome. And the world bends. It cannot help itself. The external is not rigid. It is clay, molded moment by the dominant state you refuse to abandon, even if the reflection lags behind, even if time seems to stretch. The one who stands firm, who thinks, feels, and acts like abundance is inevitable, eventually forces life to realign. It is not arrogance. It is not fantasy. It is the higher law at work. There comes a point when reality cracks under the pressure of your inner assumption, when opportunities you never imagined appear, when resources flood into your life from directions you couldn't have predicted, when people, situations, and even so-called coincidences rearrange themselves to serve your vision. It may seem miraculous to others, but to you, it is expected. You knew it all along. You refused to accept lack as real, and now life has surrendered to your certainty. This is the quiet, hidden power of the inner world. You are not at the mercy of the economy. You are not enslaved by circumstance. You are not bound by your upbringing or your past. You are bound only by the assumptions you choose to rehearse. The one who dares to reject the appearance of lack, to drown it out with unwavering inner abundance, becomes unstoppable. The external bends, the bank account grows, the opportunities multiply, the success compounds, but it always begins within, with the refusal to let temporary evidence dictate permanent beliefs. And when you master that, the world, no matter how stubborn, cannot resist you. You are standing at the crossroads now. the threshold between the life you've tolerated and the life you've secretly desired. And the choice is no longer hidden. You can remain a servant to circumstances, allowing your senses to dictate your identity, rehearsing lack, entertaining doubt, living as though wealth is some distant event reserved for others. Or you can awaken. You can rise. You can step into the terrifying, exhilarating truth that your world is plastic, your bank account obedient, your entire reality governed by the assumptions you hold right now. The universe does not delay abundance. It delays for the hesitant, the doubtful, the one who wavers. But to the one who goes on a relentless, unapologetic rampage of inner wealth, to the one who refuses to think, feel, and act like lack is real, life must surrender. The reflection must realign. The evidence must appear. And so I say this to you now, not as theory, but as law. Go on a rampage of inner abundance. Saturate your mind, flood your heart, overwhelm your senses with the certainty that wealth is already yours. Act as though your fortune has arrived. Think as though your success is undeniable. Move through life as though prosperity follows you like a loyal shadow. Do not wait for permission. Do not hesitate for proof. You are the cause, life is the effect. Your inner abundance is the seed, your bank, your opportunities, your success, the harvest. Go on that rampage, daily, relentlessly, until the external world has no choice but to reflect the unstoppable wealth you've already claimed within. The world is not waiting to give you wealth. It is waiting for you to become it. Pause for a moment and look around you. The world you see, the life you live, the circumstances you call your reality, every piece of it was once invisible. The house you live in, the money in your account, the clothes on your back, the job you hold, even the conversations you have. These all emerged from the unseen realm of thought, belief, and imagination. Everything that exists today was born first in the quiet chambers of the mind. But here's the astonishing truth most people ignore. That same creative power is active in you right now, whether you're conscious of it or not. You see, wealth doesn't begin with a paycheck. Riches don't start with a promotion, a lucky break, or some overnight miracle. The richest people in the world mastered something long before the world mastered something, long before the world ever saw their wealth. They mastered that reality is not something happening to them. The uncomfortable truth is, if you constantly imagine lack, you will live in lack. If your inner conversation rehearses fear, you will attract fear. But if you dare to imagine being rich daily, to feel the abundance as real now, even while your bank account tells another story, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your vision. I know the world trains you to believe in hard facts. You look at your current circumstances, your debts, your job, your empty wallet, and you say, but this is reality. No, my friend, that is simply evidence of the past. It is the harvest of your former thinking, your previous assumptions. The real power lies not in the facts you see, but in the vision you dare to hold beyond the facts. The poor man wakes up every day rehearsing struggle. He imagines bills piling up, opportunities slipping away, rejection, limitation, lack. And what does life give him? More struggle, more scarcity, more reasons to believe that wealth is out of reach. But the one who becomes rich is different. Long before the money shows up, they build their inner empire. They imagine being rich daily. They close their eyes and see the wealth, feel the lifestyle, taste the success, embrace the freedom. They rehearse abundance so vividly that it feels more real than their current circumstances, and like a magnet, life bends to their dominant inner image. It doesn't matter where you are today. You could be buried in debt, working a job you hate, living in conditions that crush your spirit. But if you start to imagine being rich daily, truly live it in your inner world, your outer world will respond. This is not wishful thinking, it's not delusion. It is the ancient, unshakable law that governs reality. You attract what you assume to be true. So ask yourself, what are you imagining daily? Are you rehearsing poverty or wealth? Are you marinating in fear or possibility? Are you stuck repeating the same story of lack, or are you bold enough to rewrite your reality with the brushstrokes of your imagination? Because here's the mystery. Wealth starts within. It always has, it always will. The most relevant key point of the speech. The world cannot deny the person who persistently imagines being rich. Daily imagination conditions the mind to expect wealth. And what the mind expects, life delivers. Your reality reflects your dominant inner state. It's easy to believe that life happens to us, that we are simply reacting to circumstances, victims of luck, fate, or outside forces beyond our control. But the hidden truth, the one most people never grasp, is that your reality is nothing more than a reflection of your dominant inner state. Everything you experience on the outside, whether it's wealth, poverty, opportunities, or obstacles, is a direct projection of what you've been consistently imagining and feeling within yourself. Think of your life as a mirror. You cannot look into the mirror and expect to see a smiling face if you are frowning. In the same way, you cannot walk around every day marinating in thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation, and then expect abundance to greet you at the door. The mirror reflects what you present to it, not what you wish for, but what you assume to be true. And life does the same. Your dominant inner state is not a passing thought or a fleeting daydream. It's the deep, repetitive feeling and belief system that you carry quietly within, often without even realizing it. You might speak words of success, but if beneath the surface you constantly feel broke, powerless, or undeserving, that is the state shaping your reality. Life does not respond to words alone. It responds to the energies, the assumptions, and the feelings that dominate your inner. Look at those who consistently prosper, who seem to attract wealth and opportunity with ease. Do you think it's coincidence or luck? No, it's alignment. Their outer success mirrors an inner state of certainty, expectation, and abundance that they've cultivated over time. They've mastered the art of living rich within long before the world recognized their success. On the other hand, consider those trapped in cycles of poverty, no matter how hard they work. They hustle endlessly, yet wealth remains distant. Why? Because their dominant inner state is one of lack. Even in moments of effort, beneath the surface, they expect struggle, they imagine rejection, they rehearse scarcity, and so life faithfully reflects that expectation. The secret few dare to practice is this: change your dominant inner state, and your reality must change too. You must begin to see yourself as rich, whole, and abundant within, even if your current circumstances tell a different story. You must walk in the feeling of wealth, carry the energy of prosperity, and embody the belief that abundance is your natural state. This is not fantasy. It is the foundational law of creation. The outer world follows the inner world, not the other way around. Your bank account, your job, your relationships, your opportunities, they are all downstream from your inner state. If you feel broke every day, life cannot deliver wealth. But if you imagine being rich daily, saturating your inner world with the feeling of wealth, success becomes inevitable. It's not a question of if, it's only a question of when. Imagination is the blueprint of your future. Everything you will ever achieve, possess, or experience begins first in the workshop of your imagination. It is within this unseen space that the blueprint of your future is designed, refined, and constructed. Most people underestimate the power of imagination, dismissing it as childish daydreaming or fantasy. But in reality, imagination is the creative engine that builds your life from the inside out. Think of every invention, every skyscraper, every luxury car, every $1 million idea. It all began in someone's imagination. Long before the world saw it, it existed in the invisible realm of thought. The same principle applies to your wealth. Before you can experience being rich outwardly, you must design that reality within your imagination. But this is where most fall short. They imagine poverty. They imagine rejection. They play mental movies of failure and hardship over and over, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Their imagination, instead of being used to create abundance, becomes a tool that reinforces limitation. Yet those who master wealth understand this. Imagination is not optional. It is destiny. Every time you close your eyes and imagine being rich, you are drawing the architectural lines of your future reality. You are constructing the details, the experiences, the lifestyle, the freedom that will eventually manifest in the physical world. Your imagination holds no limits. You can live in a cramped apartment, yet within your mind walk through the halls of a mansion. You can stare at a nearly empty bank account, yet in your imagination feel the thrill of unlimited resources. The world may tell you to be realistic, but reality is nothing more than past imagination brought to life. Understand this deeply. Your imagination is not fiction. It is creation in its rawest form. What you hold vividly in your mind, consistently and emotionally, plants the seeds of your future experiences. This is why imagining being rich daily is so critical. You are rehearsing, preparing, and aligning yourself with the reality you desire to live. Some might ask, but what if my outer circumstances contradict what I imagine? That doesn't matter. The outer world is simply the echo of your past thinking. Your imagination carves the future. If you persist in imagining wealth, life must obey. The world has no choice but to construct in physical form what you have been constructing in thought. The key is consistency. You cannot imagine riches once and expect transformation. You must live there in your imagination. Feel the wealth, see the lifestyle, taste the freedom, engage every sense. The more real it becomes within, the faster life brings it forth without. Imagination is not escapism. It is the first stage of manifestation. Those who ignore this live by default, trapped by circumstances. But those who master imagination shape their future intentionally, like an artist with a blank canvas. Your wealth, your success, your abundant life, they are all waiting for you to design them first, in the realm of imagination. Daily mental rehearsal creates wealthy expectations. Every day, without realizing it, you are rehearsing a future for yourself. Your mind is not silent. It speaks, imagines, replays, and projects, constantly shaping the reality you will soon live. Most people rehearse fear, limitation, and struggle. They replay thoughts of lack. I'll never have enough. Money is hard to earn. Rich people are different from me. And unknowingly, these daily mental rehearsals condition them to expect scarcity. Life always aligns with those expectations. But those who understand the creative power of thought do something radically different. They imagine being rich daily. Not as a random wish, but as a disciplined mental rehearsal. They close their eyes, picture their wealthy life, feel the freedom, embrace the emotions of success, and immerse themselves in that experience repeatedly. Over time, these rehearsals hardwire new beliefs into their subconscious. Their minds start to expect wealth as naturally as they once expected struggle. Expectation is the hidden magnet that draws your experiences toward you. You cannot rise above what you expect. If deep down you expect failure, rejection, or financial hardship, life complies. But when your daily mental rehearsal trains your mind to expect riches, the universe begins to organize itself around that inner belief. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. People, ideas, and circumstances show up as if by design, moving you toward your imagined wealth. Consider elite athletes or world-class performers. They don't just practice physically, they mentally rehearse their success daily. They visualize victory, hear the applause, feel the accomplishment long before it arrives. And when the moment comes, their mind and body already know the path. The same principle applies to your wealth. You must mentally walk through your rich life every single day until your mind accepts it as reality. Repetition builds expectation, and expectation precedes manifestation. A person who imagines wealth occasionally, but then drowns in doubt and fear, sabotages their own progress. But the one who persistently imagines being rich builds an unshakable expectation for success. Over time, this expectation becomes so natural, so familiar, that wealth begins to flow in surprising and effortless ways. This is why your daily mental rehearsal is not a luxury, it is your responsibility. The mind left unattended drifts back to old patterns, conditioned beliefs, and scarcity thinking. But with discipline, you can overwrite those limitations. You can plant new seeds of wealth, nurture them through imagination, and harvest the results in your physical life. Remember, wealth begins as an internal rehearsal long before it becomes external evidence. If you want to experience riches, you must first feel them, live them mentally, carry their energy every day. The world cannot deny a person who consistently expects abundance because their inner world holds the blueprint that life must follow. You cannot experience what you don't first create within. The world you touch, see, and live in, the house, the car, the bank balance, the lifestyle, is always the secondary creation. The primary creation happens within. And if you refuse to create riches in your inner world, you will never hold them in your hands. It is a universal principle. You cannot experience on the outside what you have not first accepted, envisioned, and embodied on the inside. Most people try to reverse this process. They wait for external proof, the money, the success, the recognition, before they allow themselves to feel abundant. But the truth works in the opposite direction. The feeling, the vision, the inner creation must come first. Only then does the outer world rearrange itself to mirror that inner state. Look closely at your life right now. Whatever you consistently feel, believe, and imagine within is reflected all around you. If you feel broke, life mirrors lack. If you feel rich within, even when your circumstances suggest otherwise, the seeds of wealth are already growing, unseen but unstoppable. This is why most people stay trapped in cycles of frustration. They let their current reality dictate their inner state. If the bank account is low, they feel poor. If opportunities seem scarce, they feel hopeless. But that's the trap. You must break free from reacting to the outer world and start deliberately creating from within. Inner creation requires imagination, discipline, and faith. You must close your eyes and imagine being rich daily. You must walk mentally through the life you desire as if it already belongs to you. Feel the wealth, hear the freedom, taste the success. Let those inner experiences become so vivid that they feel more real than your present circumstances. The mind is not limited by time or space. You can create riches in your imagination regardless of where you are today. The person sitting in a small apartment can live in a mansion within their mind. The employee earning little can feel like a CEO in their imagination. When this inner state is held with conform to that internal blueprint. Creation is always an inside job. You build the castle in your mind before you ever step foot inside it. You live the wealthy life internally before it manifests externally. Those who forget this principle stay stuck, waiting for something to change. But those who create from within become the architects of their destiny. Your outer world is delayed evidence. It catches up to your inner world in time. So stop waiting for circumstances to give you permission to feel rich. Instead, create the wealth within daily and trust that life will bring the reflection in its own perfect way. Would you like me to expand the next 2 points now? Persistent imagination rewires limiting beliefs. One of the greatest obstacles to wealth isn't the economy, your education, or your connections. It's the limiting beliefs buried deep within your subconscious. These invisible scripts run your life, dictating what you believe you deserve, what you believe is possible, and what you unconsciously expect. If your mind is filled with beliefs like I'm not worthy of wealth, money is hard to get, or only certain people become rich, those beliefs become invisible walls that block your progress, no matter how hard you try on the outside. But here's the key most people overlook. You are not stuck with those limiting beliefs. You can rewire them, you can override them with new, empowering truths. And the most powerful tool for doing this is persistent imagination. When you imagine being rich daily, when you rehearse the feeling of wealth, the freedom of abundance, and the lifestyle of success, you begin to challenge and break apart the old beliefs that have held you captive. The subconscious mind doesn't argue with repetition. It doesn't question your logic. It simply absorbs what you feed it consistently. If for years you've been feeding your mind images of lack, failure, and limitation, then that's the world your mind has constructed around you. But the moment you commit to persistent imagination, daily intentional visualization of your wealthy life, you begin to plant new seeds in the soil of your subconscious. At first, your old beliefs may resist. You might hear a whisper inside saying, "This isn't real," or "You can't have that." That's normal. Those voices are echoes of the past, fragments of the old mental program running its course. But if you persist, if you keep feeding your mind with the feeling, vision, and assumption of wealth, something powerful happens. The old beliefs begin to lose their grip. Your subconscious cannot hold two conflicting dominant states at once. It will always lean toward what is fed most often with the greatest emotional intensity. When you imagine being rich daily, with feeling, with vividness, and with unwavering consistency, your subconscious begins to accept that version of reality as truth. Slowly, the walls of limitation crumble. The beliefs that once told you it's impossible are replaced with the certainty that it's inevitable. This is not instant, it's a process, a rewiring of the deepest parts of your mind. But the more you persist, the more your inner world transforms. And when your inner world changes, your outer reality follows like a shadow. You are not your past beliefs. You are not bound by the limitations society, family, or your environment placed upon you. You are the creator of your reality, and persistent imagination is your most powerful tool for rewriting the script. Wealth, success, and abundance begin with the stories you tell yourself daily. Rewrite the story. Live the new version in your imagination and watch as your world shifts to reflect it. Circumstances will bend to match your inner assumptions. Life does not happen randomly. Your circumstances, the people you meet, the opportunities that appear, the challenges you face are not accidents. They are mirrors of your inner assumptions. What you consistently assume to be true about yourself, your worth, your future, and your wealth becomes the invisible force shaping your reality. The world bends and adjusts itself to align with the picture you hold in your mind. Most people misunderstand this. They believe circumstances are fixed, immovable facts beyond their control. They look at their bank account, their job, their environment, and they surrender to the idea that this is simply how things are. But circumstances are fluid. They are not permanent. They are the delayed reflection of your dominant inner state. Change that state, and life has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. Your assumptions are powerful. If you assume wealth is only for others, life will affirm that belief. If you assume success is out of reach, your circumstances will comply. But when you imagine being rich daily, when you saturate your inner world with the assumption that wealth is yours, life begins to respond in ways that defy logic. Opportunities appear where none existed. The right people enter your path. Unexpected doors open. It may seem miraculous to those watching from the outside, but in truth, it is the natural outcome of inner alignment. Circumstances are not rigid, they are obedient to the energy you carry and the assumptions you hold. This is why it's essential to live in the state of wealth even before the physical evidence arrives. You cannot wait for circumstances to change before you feel rich. You must feel rich, assume wealth, and imagine being rich daily, and then watch as life bends to match your vision. The mistake most people make is reacting to the present instead of creating from within. They let their current reality dictate their feelings, and as a result, they stay trapped in cycles of lack. But those who understand the creative power of assumption rise above appearances. They carry the feeling of abundance even in the face of struggle, knowing that circumstances must eventually yield to the inner state. Circumstances are not dictators, they are reflections. The outer world does not lead, it follows. When you consistently live in the inner state of wealth, life conforms. It cannot resist the energy of unwavering inner conviction. So if you want to change your circumstances, stop focusing on them. Instead, focus on your assumptions. Change the picture within. Assume wealth, live abundance mentally, and watch as life bends, reshapes, and aligns to match the vision you carry every single day. Wealth responds to the person who acts as if they are already rich. There is a hidden principle that governs the flow of abundance, yet few are bold enough to practice it fully. Wealth responds to the person who acts as if they are already rich. Notice, this isn't about arrogance, showing off, or pretending in the superficial sense. It's about aligning your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with the state of being wealthy, even before the world reflects that wealth to you. The average person waits. They wait for the money to arrive before they feel abundant. They wait for the promotion before they carry themselves with confidence. They wait for life to deliver riches before they permit themselves to live in the energy of prosperity. But those who truly understand creation know better. They reverse the process. They act from the state of wealth, not towards it. When you imagine being rich daily, you're not merely daydreaming. You are shifting your identity. You begin to walk, talk, think, and behave as though wealth is already your reality. You make decisions from abundance, not fear. You carry yourself with the certainty of someone who knows that resources are unlimited and that life always provides. This shift is magnetic. The world notices energy long before it notices external success. When you embody the mindset of wealth, opportunities gravitate toward you, people treat you differently, your posture changes, your conversations shift. You no longer approach life as someone lacking, but as someone overflowing. Acting as if you are already rich transforms small daily choices that have enormous ripple effects. You invest in yourself without hesitation. You pursue bold ideas. You reject scarcity thinking. You no longer beg for opportunities. You attract them by being aligned with a state of abundance. You understand? This is not about reckless spending or false appearances. It's about inner alignment. Even if your bank account is low, you carry the energy of someone whose wealth is inevitable. You no longer dwell in desperation. You dwell in the assumption that wealth is your natural state. The paradox is powerful. The world mirrors your inner reality, not your current circumstances. So when you act as if you are already rich, you collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. You no longer wait, you create. You no longer chase, you attract. Wealth, success, freedom, they all respond to the version of you that is bold enough to embody them in advance. When you live, think, and behave as though your wealth is already here, life conspires to make that vision your reality. Your wealth does not begin with numbers in a bank account or assets you can touch. It begins in the unseen world, the world of your imagination, your assumptions, and your inner state. Every rich person first became wealthy within, long before the evidence arrived. You hold the same creative power. Imagine being rich daily. Persist in seeing, feeling, and living your abundant life within, regardless of what your outer world shows today. Train your mind to expect wealth. Rewire your beliefs. Watch your circumstances bend to your inner convictions. Walk, talk, and live as though your wealth is inevitable, because it is. You are not waiting for riches to find you. You are creating them from within, moment by moment, vision by vision, assumption by assumption. The day you fully commit to living rich mentally is the day the world begins to shape itself around your new identity. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you become. Imagine it, embody it, expect it, and life will have no choice but to deliver.